good cheer, please. It's morning. Arey? Ek baar. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Yeah, that's a good one. So I hope you've got your handbands, the wristbands. Everyone got that? Okay, so please do not remove that band because that is the thing that will be getting you lunch as well as the goodies. So you'll be getting 2 stars on the bands, 1 for the lunch and 1 for the goodies. Okay? So please make sure that the band you do not remove and it is not broken or anything. Okay? So should we start now? Are you all excited? Okay, cool. So let's start then.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, tech wizards and all those who are passionate about the world of Android, welcome to a rendezvous with innovation where code meets creativity and technology meets imagination. Let's begin our Google Android Campus Fest at YCCE, an event that promises to take you on the journey through the past, present and future of this iconic platform.
Namaskar, Swagatam, Suswagatam, Sat Sri Akal, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Krishna, Assalamu Alaikum, Kammagini Konnichiwa, hello and welcome. We are here to celebrate the fusion of technology and imagination at the Google Android Campus Fest at YCCE. To kickstart this fantastic event, let's roll out the red carpet of welcome for our esteemed guests who have brought their magic to grace us today. Your presence and enthusiasm transform this gathering into an extraordinary affair. So let's dial up the excitement and channel that energy into a thunderous round of applause. I now request Gauri ma'am to please escort the guests to the dais. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our guests for gracing this event with their auspicious presence. Before we start, let's seek the blessings of Saraswati and start this Android Campus Fest. To begin with, let's welcome our guests. I kindly request Gauri ma'am to please extend a floral bouquet to our chief guest, Mr. Joinal Ahmed, architect at Navcat and ex-Googler. I request Gauri ma'am to please present the floral bouquet to Mr. Pankaj Rai, who's a Google developer expert, Android, Firebase and TensorFlow. I request Mr. Neeraj Vakre to present a floral bouquet to Mr. Anirudh Khandwe, cybersecurity expert at Aurum Pro. Thank you so much.
Moving on, to give you tech enthusiasts some insights and overview about our community, I now hand over the stage to our distinguished Dean of Training and Placement, Dr. Gauri Dopavkar, to brief us about the association of YCCE and Google. Please give her your full attention and enjoy what promises to be an inspiring and informative session.
Can't be defeated. Monday left me broken. Tuesday I was through with hoping. Wednesday my empty.
Good morning. Yeah. Good morning, dignitaries on the dais, Mr. Joniel, then Pankaj, Aniruddha, Neeraj Vakhre sir, distinguished guests sitting in the audience, deans and directors of various departments, the student coordinator, Rinesh, and all dear participants who have registered for this event. So it is really a proud privilege to me to stand before you and share the association with Google. So YCCE and Google India have entered into a MOU, which is academic MOU, in 2023 in on April 13. It's really a good movement to take the Central India ahead with the latest technology trends. As you all know, we are living with Google. Google has become an important part of our day-to-day life. We are Googlers. Everybody is taking help of Google in everything. Google Maps, Gmails, and whatnot. Okay? So we are really proud to take our students and expose them to the technological advancements by forming the MOU with Google India Educators Program. Various initiatives are promised by Google under this MOU, like faculty would be trained under this initiative, students' trainings would happen, and further, very important things, we have already started with 2 professional electives in association with Google India under this educators program, campus program. We have started with the Android with Compose one course, and another is machine learning with TensorFlow, which are the buzzwords of today's world. And I promise everyone sitting here that YCCE not only will take benefit of it, but it will leverage the benefit to all other students in the Central India. So you all are welcome to the initiatives. Apart from this MOU, we have various communities, student councils, which are very actively working through various initiatives. Like we have GDSC, Google Developers Student Council, Student Committee. Then further we have a special group working for cloud. Then we are directly associated with the GDG Nagpur and GDG Nagpur Cloud community even. So really around 7 to 8 students are the top office bearers of these communities. So we are really proud to host all the initiatives taken for the students as well as the faculty community. So definitely we look forward for more associations with Google, and why I was also associated and I am very much interested in GDG activities, that reminds me one incident that took place in 2019. As a faculty, I am also very much enthusiastic for the latest upcoming technology. Like in 2013, I conducted one workshop on Python. That time, nobody was knowing what is Python in Nagpur even. Okay, so I could come across some experts working in Python that time, and it really benefited number of students in YCCE. So in 2019, I happened to attend one GDG conclave at Persistent Nagpur. So all the stalwarts, all very latest technology, technocrats were present during that, and I suddenly saw some of the YCCE students, and Aniruddha was one of them. He is our proud alumnus, and he is basically from electrical engineering. So I was very much surprised that Aniruddha, you are an electrical guy and you are interested in this kind of thing. So he said, yes madam, we are so much doing the things, but in YCCE, I want to take it ahead. Then I said, you please come to me, we will definitely start these kinds of initiatives. And then it required some days to plan the things, and ultimately last year we had the GDSC in YCCE also. So that time we could learn about the Golang, then Kotlin and so on. So it was very much enlightening for all the participants. So I request all of you to participate in various initiatives taken ahead by YCCE in association with Google. Okay, definitely we will communicate with you. Now we have your contacts available with us, so we will definitely involve you all in various initiatives. We thank from bottom of our hearts that all of you registered. Like this program is very well taken program. Around 500 students across India have registered for this national level, one of its kind Android campus fest. And you can see the technocrats sitting in front of you definitely will enlighten you with the latest happenings in the field of technology. Okay, so I congratulate you all for anticipating the future needs of technology and getting ready to take up the challenges. So thank you very much, and we hope that this will be all the sessions would be enjoyable, and you will take away lot of information, the flood of knowledge along with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for this informative speech. It is truly awe-inspiring moment to be a witness to two exceptional establishments unite in harmony. With immense pleasure, I extend a heartfelt invitation to Dr. Gauri Dhopavkar ma'am and Mr. Joinal Ahmed to step onto the stage and partake in the exchange of memorandums of understanding. In this accelerating act, we inaugurate the dawn of a dynamic partnership that holds boundless promises. I request the dignitaries to stand for the MOU exchange. This collaboration stands as a living testament to the magnetic pull of shared aspiration and boundless spark of innovation that propels us forward.
Due to some delays in the MOU, we'll take the vote of thanks first for the dignitaries who have been sitting over here. We have our chief guest, Mr. Joinal Ahmed. He'll be addressing us for the moment.
Hi everyone, good morning. Loud, I want to see some energy. Good morning. Good morning. Great. How's everyone doing? Sorry? How are you? How's everyone doing? Okay. How excited are you for the day? No excitement? Dinesh? No excitement?
I don't think so. Right?
Okay.
Are you guys excited?
Great. I hope everyone is looking forward to the day. You know, we have a lot of other speakers also. I'll just welcome everyone again on behalf of everyone. There are a lot, I hope there are a lot to take away from this. One, for me, myself, I'll be looking, further to what other topics we're discussing today. But there are also, apart from this, right, there are also, I think, Gauri ma'am asked me to talk around the ecosystem. There are also a lot more initiatives. It's just not the Android campus fest that we are doing, but there is something for every, I would say, persona, right? You start with GDSCs, where as a developer you create impact to the community. Like, you just not learn, right? What we want is, as an outcome of this event, you go out, help local businesses build their software products, right? That way you help them grow as well as you build your own skills. From there, you can graduate to, GDG Cloud or GDs where you can, talk around or connect to a lot of other technologies. We have seen a lot of GDSC leaders graduate to Google developer experts, like people like, Anubhav and others who have been GDSC leaders but are now Google developer experts, right? So there's a lot upper hand you can learn and deliver and create impact. So do that. Even if you are not, comfortable in talking in front of the audience, even if you attend these, right, it will help you create that network. You'll get to know a lot of people, and I think that is one major takeaway, right? So one thing I want everyone to do is sit with someone that is not your friend today, right? Sit with someone who's not your friend today, make them friend, get to know them, and I think that you can take away out and build those relationships. That will help. Yep. Thank you for having me today, and over to the hosts.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Joinal Ahmed is our chief guest today, and he is currently working at NavCat, and he's also an ex-Googler. Now, please welcome our guest of honor, Mr. Pankaj Rai, with us for the address.
Good morning, everyone. Distinguished college leadership and honored guests. Well, I'm really honored to be here today. And as we gather here, it reminds me about one thing, that the incredible talent that each one of you holds today is going to shape our future too. And this is so exciting to see how this college is utilizing the opportunity which is provided by Google through the educators program. And how many of you have attended any events conducted by GDG or GDG Cloud or TFUG? A very few of you. But do take advantage of this kind of events, because while being in college, how many of you are in college, not doing job anywhere? Almost all. So this you can correlate very easily, that while being in college, you learn through the theoretical knowledge. You learn a lot of books, you go through many articles, you go through YouTube content, but those are theoretical parts. Based on your understanding, you may build some product. But what's going on in the industry? What problem industry is facing? Those things you can get to know when you interact with someone who is from the industry. And this kind of platforms give you the opportunity to interact with them, talk to them, and even there are certain scenarios where you can take your ideas to them and together build something innovative for the world. So I'm so glad to be here today, and thank you so much for extending the invitation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I request Mr. Anirudh Khandwe to please address us. He is also alumnus of YCCE and currently a cybersecurity expert at Orano Pro.
और कैसे हो सब लोग? आवाज नहीं आ रहा यार. नींद खुल गई सबकी? चलो ग्रेट. सो आज मेरे लिए भी एक बहुत ऐसा एक्साइटिंग मोमेंट है, प्लस प्राउड मोमेंट भी है कि मैं मेरे कॉलेज में आज एज अ गेस्ट लेक्चरर करके इनवाइट किया गया हूँ. सो आई एम फ्रॉम इलेक्ट्रिकल ब्रांच बेसिकली. अच्छा, आप में से कितने लोग अदर देन CS एंड IT से हो? ग्रेट ग्रेट ग्रेट. सो आप लोग यहाँ पे आए हो, मतलब आपका वो फील्ड में इंटरेस्ट है इसलिए. सो अभी आप अगर देखने जाओगे, सो मल्टीपल फील्ड्स, मल्टीपल इंजीनियरिंग फील्ड्स एक साथ आ रही है और बहुत सारी इनोवेटिव चीज़ कर रही है. सो दिस इज़ द एग्जाम्पल कि आप आपके कोर फील्ड में हो, साथ साथ में एक आईटी में भी इंटरेस्ट रखते हो. आई होप आप में से बहुत सारे जो लोग हैं नए नए इनोवेशंस करेंगे. ये ऐसे जो इवेंट है इससे आपको बहुत सारे लर्निंग भी मिलेगी. आज के जो अपने पास एक्सपर्ट्स जो आए हुए हैं, दे आर वन ऑफ द बेस्ट एक्सपर्ट्स एट देयर फील्ड. सो आई होप आपको इसमें से बहुत सारी लर्निंग मिलेगी एंड आप बहुत अच्छे ग्रो करोगे. या थैंक्स.
Thank you so much, sir.
It is a truly awe-inspiring moment to bear witness as two exceptional establishments unite in harmony. I extend a heartfelt invitation to Dr. Gauri Dhopavkar and Mr. Joinal Ahmed to step and partake in the exchange of memorandums of understanding. I request the dignitaries to take a stand.
Let this be another. It's like someone clipped my wings. Now I'm falling, and I can't see the ground.
Please give a big round of applause, guys.
Keeps bringing me down. I can't breathe.
It is an absolute pleasure for us to have these dignitaries with us on this event. I request Dr. Gauri Dhopavkar to please felicitate our speakers. I request Dr. Gauri Dhopavkar to kindly felicitate our chief guest, Mr. Joinal Ahmed, with a memento as a token of appreciation. I kindly request Dr. Gauri Dhopavkar to please felicitate Mr. Pankaj Rai with a memento as a token of appreciation.
Come and fly away with me. Come and fly away with me. Come and fly away with me. Come and fly.
I request Mr. Neeraj Vakhre to please felicitate our speaker, Mr. Anirudh Khandwe, with a memento as a token of appreciation. Our fourth speaker, Mr. Aditya Bobde, will be joining us soon.
I request our organizer Mr. Dinesh Patil to address the audience.
This is not working actually. Fine. So hello and good morning to everyone. Again, good morning, you know. It's, yeah, I can understand. So this is a formal vote of thanks from myself, right? So this is Dinesh Patil. I'm a student of Computer Science and Engineering Department YCCE and the organizer of the Google for Developers Android Campus Fest 2023. For from that, I'm as well Google Cloud Arcade Facilitator, a lead at Google Developers Group Cloud Nagpur, and a cloud lead at GDSC YCCE. I welcome you all at the Central India's largest Android Campus Fest. So hi everyone. Hi. Where's your band, by the way? Just show me your bands. Yeah, that's pretty good. So yeah, first of all, I'd like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all of you for joining us today at this esteemed Tech Fest. It is my privilege to deliver this formal vote of thanks on behalf of Yashwantrao Chavan College of Engineering, Nagpur. And this institution is dedicated to academic excellence and growth. First of all, I would like to thank our patrons, that is Shri Dattaji Meghe, Shri Samirji Meghe, Srimati Vrindadai Meghe, and Shri Ravi D. Meghe for their visions of creating excellent human resources and sensible citizens of India through the innovative research-oriented, choice-based education. Yeah. So we are deeply honored by our support by our principal, Sir Dr. U.P. Waghe, our Director Technical and Advisor MGI, Dr. Manali Shirsagar ma'am. She's always supportive, and yeah, definitely she was going to be here, but unfortunately I don't know what the instances were, but she's not present with us. Also, Vage sir would not be able to come make it up to this program. So yeah, our profound gratitude to Dean of Training and Placement, Dr. Gauri Dupaukar ma'am, and who supports us always, I'll say. So yeah, and our Training and Placement Officer, Mr. Neeraj Vakre sir, and definitely I would like to thank for the distinguished speakers present here, Joinal, Pankaj, Anirudh, and also Aditya would be here in some time, so don't worry about it, and their insights will definitely help you guys, right? So yeah, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to our management head, Kumar Mansukani sir, and the representatives for the unwavering support and coordinating with our vendors. Your dedication and expertise have greatly contributed to our success. A special thank you to Vishal sir. He'll be with us, joining to us virtually, so don't worry about it. And Gansham, who actually helped us with the problem statements of App Expo. So let me know who actually were in the Appathon, who have registered for the Appathon. Please raise your hands, SE. All right, only one, I guess. All right, no issues. Okay, so thanks to our food partner, Sodexo, and special thanks to Dhankumar sir for arranging it for ACF YCCE 2023. Also, I'd like to thank all the respective deans of our college and HODs of our college as well, and present here with us. And your presence will elevate this event. We look forward to continue the collaboration of Google for Developers program towards our pursuit of knowledge and excellence at YCCE Nagpur. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. I now request our dignitaries to please take their seats off the dais.
Okay, just let me reach one.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's now time to dive into the heart of our event, the super exciting address by Vishal Das. It's very unfortunate that due to some medical issues, our keynote speaker couldn't be present with us in person, but he will be gracing our event as a virtual speaker. So please put your hands together for Operations Manager at Google, Mr. Vishal Das.
Thank you, Ramesh. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for adjusting to my situation. Before I begin, a very heartfelt apologies to organizers and the team, Dr. Gauri, Dinesh, and Anirudh as well. I know how we have been looking forward to the event, and I really wanted to be present in person. We have been planning this event for I think about 2 to 3 months now, and unfortunately at the last moment something I couldn't make it. Nevertheless, I'm really happy to see that everyone else who is going to add so much more value than I possibly could in this event is present physically. Jonal, thank you so much for making it there. Pankaj, so happy to see you there. And Anirudh, I think one of the main people who is behind making the MOU between YCC and India Edu program possible. Thank you so much, Anirudh, for doing that. And Dinesh, obviously, thank you so much for coordinating for all of this. Well, I'm recovering from a few things, so I'll excuse me if I keep my keynote a little bit short, but I'll talk about a few things and leave you with something that you definitely are looking forward to hear about. So, the Android Campus Fest, we started it last year. We have been running the program with a lot of skilling partners in a lot of universities across the country. And the main reason why we wanted to host this was to give a space to not only students, but more importantly, the faculties who taught the courses, the latest skills and resources from Google in their classrooms, and give them a space to recognize, showcase, and students also like yourselves who recently completed the hackathon or took part in it, have built projects and stuff, get a space to showcase with other people in the space, other speakers, and just showcase what you have built. So thank you so much for doing that. I think my video is off. I'll prefer to keep it off because I'm not in a great condition. So yeah, sorry about that. But trust me, I look just the same as in my picture. Yes. So yeah, this was a small glimpse of the Android Campus Fest we did last year. A lot of happenings, and YCC Android Campus Fest is something we are looking forward to. A similar type of excitements. We are looking forward to all the projects that the students have built, and all the best to the rest of the people who are going to take part of it. Few other things I'll talk about. One is, before I run into other things, these are the coordinates. The main reason why you have all the resources right now at your disposal in your college is all due to the contributions of your university, who has agreed to include the latest resources in your curriculum. All these resources are freely available. Feel free to explore and learn more about it, and reach out to us, if you think that there's something more we should include. With that, these are the few places that you can follow the program. These are the few places you can stay updated with. We look forward to posting about your projects and the event pictures from YCC on LinkedIn. And yeah, we look forward to that as well. And these are again for faculties. I'll skip this part, but it's a little bit important because this is how we make sure that you are being taught the latest things. So feel free to look forward to that as well. Another thing is, once you are done with the projects and you want to look for more opportunities, our program partners across the countries who make it possible to give you a larger space. They host a lot of virtual internship programs, 3 months long, 6 months long, and a lot of students get opportunities to represent, build projects at a national scale, and even get recognized for that. So all of these things are brought to your university now, thanks to, again, the collaboration, and because of that, all the extra. So I'll tell you, I graduated from college only 2 years back, and back then in my college, the latest resources was not so much being well taught in the classrooms, right? So it was a struggle for all the students. We had to do a 9 to 5 class, and if we wanted to learn the latest, then we had to take courses or find out resources from other places and upskill ourselves separately. So obviously there was a huge overhead as well, because you have to prepare for your exams, but then you also have to learn for what the industry demands. So I just want to emphasize how important it is that the step that YCC has taken to include Android and machine learning in the future in the curriculum, so that for the industry, and that is extremely important. So thank you so much, Dr. Gori, for taking that step. I missed meeting you as well in person, and I really wish that we meet real soon in the future. Um, but yeah, that's all about the resources, and something that obviously all of you want to know is how to get into Google, right? All these things are fine, but get me a job at Google. So already, I mean, if I was there present at the event, then I'm pretty sure I'd be taking those questions. But I'll tell you, there is another very interesting person present just between you, Jonal. Uh, he's uh, he's uh, he's been from the community. He's an amazing person. He has started contributing from the community and made his way into Google. And so far, the journey with him has been simply amazing. Now he's going to do even better stuff. So he definitely has the right amount of experience to help you understand how he has made it through and how you too can. But um, the process already has started for you, not only for Google, but any industry, any company that you want to be a part of. You are already being catered or already been molded to be ready for that. So feel free to go through this link. This is careers.google.com/students, and you'll find a bunch of resources, not only the answer to how to get into Google, but how to prepare your profile as for whatever job role you wish to, how to prepare your resume, how to prepare for interviews, what happens at Google, what are the type of jobs. There are a lot of other jobs than just engineering. If development and coding is not for you, if you think that's not it, then feel free to look for what are the other options available. A lot of people like UX designing, so feel free to go through that. And there are a lot of other programs that you can be a part of. There is the summer internship programs as well that often come up, and there are virtual career fairs, um, a lot of other things that keep happening. So I would say if I had to answer your questions, feel free to explore this part. It has a bunch of resources that will be helpful for you. And with that, I will call my keynote. Thank you so much. And I'm not sure if I can take any questions here, but I hope that you have a great rest of the day. The Android Campus Fest at YCCE is something I really wanted to be a part of, but perhaps next time again. And a huge thank you for all the organizers, Dinesh, Dr. Gori, the speakers. Pankaj, it's really great to see you here again. Pankaj has been part of a lot of our speaker efforts in various educator-led programs. So thank you so much, Pankaj. Please do keep your questions ready, students, because you have very amazing, if not jewels, of industry experts at your disposal today at the event. So do take advantage of the space you have, and all the best. Thank you so much again for having me, and looking forward to seeing all the pictures and the projects that you have built. Thank you.
Hey, hi, Vishal. Vishal has left the link. Okay. Vishal, very nice to listen to you. Hope you are now doing well and hope your health is getting better. Okay, please come out of it soon and let's meet next month. Okay, thank you very much for providing all the details about the careers at Google for internships, then other initiatives. Definitely our students will take it ahead, and I am really proud that we are one of those 10 academic partners to shake hands with Google. And the thanks goes to you because your initiative, your support is really good in everything that we want to initiate at YCCE and in Central India. So thank you very much. Get well soon.
So far, so good. So sad faces. Guys, abhi se tired.
थक गए?
It seems like you guys are tired. Are you? कुछ ही लोग नहीं, बाकी तो हो गए शायद tired. Are you guys tired or still energetic? और सुनने की एनर्जी है? एक और, थोड़ा louder. Are you guys still ready to listen to the people? Wow, very nice. This is what I wanted to hear. So, what all expectations did you have before coming to the Android Campus Fest? क्या सोचा था, क्या हुआ? कुछ भी? बोलो? Anyone? Guys, be interactive.
Come on.
Yeah, I know the weather is hot, but you cannot do anything. Nagpur में रह रहे हो, what can you expect? Right? I can see people blowing air from their napkins, from their hands. हाँ, अब बोलने के बाद और ज़्यादा
Now
करेंगे.
everyone is doing that.
Everyone's tired. It's hot. Some are sleeping.
Such a dull audience. Seriously.
What do you want to do? Actually, we are facing some technical issues. Okay, so we'll resume the event, okay?
In a world pulsating with ideas and innovation, there are individuals whose very presence is synonymous with brilliance. It is my privilege to introduce a Google developer and Android expert, Firebase TensorFlow. Let us embrace this opportunity to learn, to be inspired, and to set forth on our journeys of exploration. Without further ado, with the resounding applause, let us welcome on stage Mr. Pankaj Rai.
Please give a loud round of applause, guys. Very good.
So good morning again. Well, I'm Pankaj Rai, Google Developer Expert for Android, Firebase, and on-device machine learning. And today I'm here to talk about how can you get started with Android app development. And doesn't matter whether you have a prior experience to this or not, by the end of this session, you will able to create a basic app at least with a very basic UI. That's all thanks to Jetpack Compose. Well, before I talk about this, let me talk a bit about myself. I have over 8.5 years of experience in this industry, and I have extensively worked on creating native Android apps. In the recent past, I have also worked on augmented reality, training and deploying machine learning model, and even nowadays working on Gen AI. Well, apart from all this technical background, I also contribute to public community through the medium.com and YouTube. So I run my own YouTube channel where I publish tutorial videos regarding Jetpack Compose, Kotlin, and Firebase. So let's get started with our main topic, Jetpack Compose. How many of you have heard about Jetpack Compose? A very few of you. And how many of you are interested to create Android apps? So many of you. So can anyone tell me that why do you want to create Android app? What's the motive behind this? Is it to earn money, to earn fame, growth? What's that? Well, any probable guess that how many number of active devices do we have? Any random guess? Well, the number of active devices that we have worldwide is about 3 billion. Just think about the potential. The app that you're going to build is going to have a very wide reach because of Android. And Jetpack Compose is one such framework with which you can easily create even a complex application without diving deeper into how to create UI. That's nothing but the power of declarative programming. So generally, when Android developer gets trained through the YouTube or somewhere and gets started with this, the excitement level is of a different level. But when the same developer gets into the corporate, to the startup world, and then meet the reality, the things are a bit different there. And do you know the reason why? Because when you learn about any technology, not just Android, you learn based on your favoritism. But when you go for any corporate, say startup, you work based on their requirement. And sometimes their requirement is so weird, so strange, that it's very difficult to work on those. So the problem with the existing UI toolkit, Jetpack Compose is nothing but the new UI toolkit by Google, through which we create UI. And that is replacing the existing UI toolkit that we have. So the problem that comes up with the existing UI toolkit is that you need to learn one more language, which is XML, the markup language. How many of you are aware about XML? And how many of you are good at XML? Very few. So the problem with Android was you create your layout in XML. You use them in your Kotlin or Java file. And then you have a string in another XML. So basically, it's a blend of XML, Java, and Kotlin. So if you want to create some app, think about this, that you need to be aware about 3 languages: Kotlin, Java, and XML. So how about if this problem can be taken out and you do everything in single language? Will that be helpful? How many of you say that yes, that will be helpful? It's an obvious thing. Earlier, you were learning 3, now it's just 1. And Jetpack Compose is about that. Another problem that comes up with the existing UI toolkit is that as we create the layout in XML, we need to call through our Kotlin or Java file. This is what is something called as tight coupling. In your engineering days, you might have learned about tight coupling, cohesion. So cohesion is something which we should follow over coupling. And this existing UI toolkit is all about tight coupling over cohesion. So now, think about this UI. If you have to create this kind of UI, hello? Huh? Okay, sorry for the glitch. So think about this kind of UI. Well, is it looking good? But creating this UI is a real pain. And do you know the reason why? That's because of the existing UI toolkit supports none of this UI component. That means you have to create each and every component manually by yourself. And when I talk about custom creation, it's not just one file change. You create a custom design in XML, set it as background for the layout that you have defined in XML, and then call it through Kotlin or Java file. Sounds a bit complex. And the situation which I've shown for the Android developer before actually turns out to be something like this. And this happens quite a lot when you start working for the corporates or for your own startup. Because designer will give you a design which is good for look and feel. They don't bother about technical implementation of it. It's you who have to tell the designer that whether it is feasible or not. But the design which I've shown here, it is completely practical and feasible. It's just that it requires more effort from your side. But let me also tell you one thing. That's the good news. If you have to design the same thing with Jetpack Compose, it supports all these things out of box. It requires a very little bit of knowledge about Jetpack Compose, and then you can do heavy customization on it. So let's talk about Jetpack Compose, because this is the real game changer for Android app developers. I started app development from 2015. And during that time, old layout system was the only option for us. So when we used to design something for the mobile screen, it was like create, somehow get it shipped. If problem comes up later on, we'll see. But with Jetpack Compose, when I see the way this is implemented, it literally do not require a heavy knowledge on the way things are working with Android, which we used to learn before. What are those XML, what are the individual components, how to link all of them. None of them is needed with Jetpack Compose. And that's where I'm saying, today, even if you do not have even single knowledge on Jetpack Compose, but by the time this session ends, you will know how to create a very basic UI. And Jetpack Compose, even though I'm saying it's a new UI toolkit, it is production ready. So how many of you are thinking to create a product for yourself, like a startup, guys? Quite a lot. All of you want to do job in MNCs? A very few for startups? Well, when you try to build something on your own, especially for your startup, quality is something which you cannot compromise on. Do you want to compromise with quality? It's an obvious no. So Jetpack Compose is of highly performant and highly, the way they have created is so performant that many of these companies, and they have some big names too, they are using Jetpack Compose even today in their production app. And the prime feature of this is you have to write a very few amount of codes. On an average, let me tell you this. If you just want to display a list of item, a scrollable list of item, and you just want to display number from 1 to 100, the existing UI toolkit will take anywhere between 50 to 80 lines of code. Any guess about Jetpack Compose? The existing is going to take 50 to 80. What do you say? Any random guess with Jetpack Compose, how much it will be? 10, I heard 10. Any other number? Well, it's just 3 lines of code. So what happens because of this is it truly improves the way you create app, because now you are not coding, it's something which framework is doing, and you're just telling the framework what to do. And this is what we call as declarative programming rather than imperative programming. Here, you just say what to do, not how to do. And the APIs are so intuitive that you need not have to look into the documentation again and again. For example, if something is written here, what do you call this in a normal English word? Text. You'll have a text in Jetpack Compose. You can see image here. Simple English word of image. You will have image component to draw image. So the English term is used with Jetpack Compose so that to make the APIs very intuitive, and you need not have to go through the documentation over and over. And this is so powerful that any UI that you see on internet, you can build with Jetpack Compose. Those UI which was not possible before is now possible because of this. And let me talk a bit about one of the 3 broadly used layout. So at the extreme end, you are seeing something called as column. So column is nothing but if you want to place any element one below the other, you have to use a column composable. What is composable, we'll see later on. But just remember this fact that on your mobile screen, if you are designing some UI and you want to display some element one below the other, you have to use column. And if you have to display item one beside the other, you have to use row. And if there is something one on top of other, it is box. Am I clear on this? So column, one below the other, row, one beside the other, and box, one over the other. So let's check out now. Who can guess this? Column. Why is that column? Because we have element one below the other. Pretty simple, straightforward. This implementation was not there with the existing UI toolkit. But now, in order to do this, it is as simple as just you write column. How to place it in column? Framework will take care. You need not to take care about this. So this is column. How about this? Where you have image in the background and then text is coming on top of it. So that's box. And finally, the last piece, row. And this is row because we have element one beside the other. But when we talk about the practical implementation, things are not that straightforward. You'll not just have one single row, one single column, or one single box. Let's revisit this. So what's layout for this? Column. But is it only column? Because see those cards that we have. So this card that we have on the top, is it column or is it row? Well, the entire part is column, just that particular card is row. And this row have elements defined like this: left, middle, and right. But again, is this row only? Or we have something else? So there we have columns too, because we have text one below the other. So what I want to convey here is that you can have a nested hierarchy. This is something called as hierarchy, nesting of composable. So when you want to create any complex UI, the max thing that you have to do is reuse those column, row, box, and just do the nesting. How about the performance? Well, you need not to worry about the performance because it uses the gap buffer as the data structure. And gap buffer is widely used data structure for editors. They are very well advanced enough to handle this kind of system. So you'll not see a performance impact because of nesting. Yeah, but it is very deep nesting, like 100, 200, you may see. So now let's see about the structure of it. I've talked about composable, column composable, row composable, but what is composable? How many of you are from CSE background here? Almost all. Then who can tell me what is function? Okay, so function is nothing but a block of code which we can execute, right? And that's something, the block of code that we execute, which we call multiple times. So to reduce the redundancy, we can take that particular block of code to a function, and a function may or may not return a value. Same definition of function applies here too. Jetpack Compose is all about function. All composable are function. But what will happen to the original function concept? That I have a block, I want to reduce my redundancy, so I'm keeping that in a function. How do system will differentiate? That this function contain a piece of code that it should draw on the screen, and this function is a normal function, will just do some operation and will not draw anything on the screen. So to differentiate that, we have @composable. It's one of the indication that it gives to the Kotlin compiler that this function is not an ordinary function, but rather a function which contain a piece of code that it should transform to UI. Simple. So composable will not do anything here. It just give an indication to the Kotlin compiler that this contains some special code, not an ordinary function. So treat it in different way. And rest you can see as normal. The syntax which we use here with Kotlin is, we use the fun keyword and then write the function name. That's what you can see here, fun artist card column. So fun is the keyword and artist card column is the name of the function. Let's club all this together. And this piece of code is sufficient to draw something on the screen. Can anyone randomly guess, just by seeing the name of it, what it's going to print on the screen? So it will have two names, one below the other. And we have just written it at the rate composable to give indication to the compiler that whatever code that I have here, you should take it with a different approach because I want this to be drawn on the screen. So this text is a composable which is provided by the system. We have the Jetpack Compose library, and that foundation library have all these things. Text, button, and sliders, all those things. So we are just reusing that. So if I show the UI, it will look something like this. The above one is quite bold, big in text as compared to the below. Ignore that part, that is about providing extra parameter to the text, which is not shown in the snippet. If you just provide font weight as font weight.bold, it will be bold. If you provided font size as font size equals to 10, 20, 30 sp, it will increase or decrease the size. So simple, straightforward. Column, row, and box. If instead of column, I would have written row, then what could have been my UI? Those text would have come side by side. And if I would have used box, they both would have overlapped. But how do Jetpack Compose is doing all these things? What I've shown was the working demo piece kind of code. If you write that piece, it will show that UI. But how do Jetpack Compose is internally doing this? Well, again, that is not that complex. It basically have a fundamental idea of converting state to UI. State is something which you have inside @composable, and the compiler will transform it to UI. But again, this is not that clear. How it is doing it? How it is transforming state to UI? Well, internally it again have three stages: composition, layout, and drawing. What happens in the composition phase is that Android have a tree hierarchy. So whenever you call the composable along with the nesting, it creates a UI tree that you want to display these many composable on the screen. That's the entire work of composition, just creating a UI tree, and it does nothing beyond that. And after that, we have something called as layout. The entire work of this phrase is to determine where on the 2D screen, the X and Y coordinate, where to place those UI element. What should be the size of those UI element? So remember, the first one was creating the graph. Second one is calculating where to place it and what should be the size of it. Finally, the third is blindly draw whatever is given by the layout. It does nothing beyond that. So in just three phrases, it creates the layout that we see on the screen. So simple. Do Jetpack Compose was complex? Yes? No? No answer, that means it was complex. Well, Jetpack Compose is very easy. In the early stage, you may find it a bit tricky because of the syntax, the language that we have used here. It's basically with Kotlin. So if you are aware about Kotlin programming language, you'll find it very, very easy. But Jetpack Compose is all about UI, nothing beyond UI. How about if you want to have a backend server for your product? Those who want to build a startup, whatever is your idea, if your idea includes server, how do you going to do that? Do anyone have done server-side development here? No? Well, server-side development does require you to learn one more language. If you haven't learned with respect to Android, you also need to take care about multiple things, like the CPU utilization, load balancing, you need to buy the server configuration, and that also involves cost. Do we have any solution where you can avoid all these things? You need not have to learn backend development, but still you will do backend development. Can this be possible? What do you think? Well, the answer is yes, it is possible. So just imagine this fact. You are not learning backend development, but you are doing backend development, and you are doing in a way where you can take your app to the production grade at world scale level. So who can do that? Well, there is a service offered by Firebase. Firebase is a platform provided by Google. By using their services, you can build your app in a quick span of time. The services are available on multiple platforms. It's on Android, iOS, and even web. And the one of the service which I'm talking about is Cloud Firestore. But before that, this is something which I've intentionally added, just to tell you this, that all the services which Firebase offers is something which you can easily use with Jetpack Compose, because both at the core have the same foundation. Both are on observable in nature. The SDK so far which we have with Firebase is callback based, but probably in future you may see the observer based concept too. So with Jetpack Compose as a framework to create your front end, and Firebase Cloud Firestore as a service for your backend, you can create an app which you can take to the world level. Again, Jetpack Compose is very easy, and with Firestore, without learning into backend development, the complexity of backend development, you are creating your backend. And what is this Cloud Firestore? Well, Cloud Firestore is a serverless solution, which is a collection and document based database. So here it's not the server actually, it's the database. And that was the reason that I was talking about, that without learning server-side development, you can have this implementation ready because of this. Server configuration, load balancing, and all of the things is already taken care by Firebase. So today, if you have just 1,000 users, and tomorrow it increases to 1 million user, doesn't matter, Firebase will take care. And that's the advantage that you get with Firebase. But one of the key terms that comes up here is serverless. So what do you think? Do serverless means there is no server? What do you think? How many of you say that serverless means no server? There is no server here. Okay, then how many of you say there is server, but the term is serverless? Does it make sense? Well, the term serverless means you need not have to take care about the server. You are not buying the configuration for the server. Where is the server? You also do not need to care about it. Everything will be taken care by the platform. You just have to deal with creating your database, and that's it. And this is what the structure is. And in the upcoming slide, I'm also going to show you how you can create these entries. And that is very simple. But understand the structure first. The structure is we have collection and a document. So collection in turn will not store any key value pair. Only document will store that. Document will store data in a key value pair, and collection can store document. Am I clear on this? So collection will not store a key value pair, it will store document, which in turn will have key value pair. A simple structure here. Now let's see. If I want to create a database for the city in San Francisco, that's the entire piece of code which I have to write. And that's it. You create a collection, give the name of the collection, and then create a key value pair. After that, at the bottom you may see dot document. That's the place where you're defining the document and setting the value. Simple. And how about if you want to read something? It is as simple as write. Again, collection, give the name of it, document, give the name of it, and then just call get. That's it. Read and write is as simple as what comes in a single slide. And towards the end of this session, I am also going to talk about this one service which is widely used by many apps in the world, remote config. This is really one of the key services which Firebase offers, and this is completely free of cost. The Firestore which I have shown before, to some extent it is free, like 50,000 read per day and 20,000 write per day is free. Remote config, on the other hand, is completely free. And this service is so powerful that you can change your app appearance or behavior without pushing update on the Play Store or App Store, just by controlling through the key value pair. How many of you have seen this behavior that on a Gmail or Facebook, one of your friend will have different look and feel, and you may still see the older look and feel? Do anyone of you have observed this anytime? What do we call this? We call this as A/B testing. A/B testing is for same app, different users will have a different set of appearance and behavior. We do A/B testing to determine that which version of this achieve the target. If the target is more user engagement or whatever is the case, and then we roll out for the entire set of user. That is done using this service, remote config. And it is as simple as setting multiple value to a single key directly on the Firebase console. Rest everything will be taken care by the Firebase. So here is the snippet of this. Again, it's not that complex. You have a reference. On that reference, you just have to call fetch and activate. That's it. So you have seen the snippet for Cloud Firestore, just few lines, for read and write, and even for this service. Just call fetch and activate, and that's it. You'll get the updated value at your app side. And Firebase is not just limited to those two. It's having so many other services related to authentication, storage, hosting. For example, if you want to host your website, did anyone tried out hosting their website anytime? You might want to buy a domain, storage. How about if you can avoid all those things? Well, Firebase offers that too. You need not have to buy the storage. You need not have to buy the domain. Firebase will give you all of that free of cost. Again, they have a limit too. It's not entirely free, but the domain name is free. But again, it comes up with their own condition, .web.app. So there are so many services Firebase offers. You just head over to the Firebase website and you'll get the code snippet also for all those services. Well, that was all about today's session. And this is about, if you want to get in touch with me, you can just scan these codes and you can easily get in touch with me. If you have any question while creating your apps, then you can head over to me on any of the platform. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. That was very inspiring of you. Guys, did you all enjoy it? And if you have any queries that you want to ask to sir, you may please raise your hands. If there's any. Yeah. Sir? Right, sir. People have queries.
Any questions?
Hello sir, my name is Atharva. I am from RCOEM.
Hello.
And my question is, being Flutter developer, why should I switch to native, like Android? Why?
Okay, so this is one of the most common question that came up in the past also, like why to choose Flutter or why to choose native. Well, the thing is, it all depends on your requirement. For example, if you are building a product for which you want to take it for Android, iOS and web, or for Android and iOS, Flutter is a good option. But if your target audience is just Android or iOS, why to choose hybrid technology then? It's a cross-platform technology which can support both the platform, but if your target audience is for Android or iOS, which is for the native audience, then any native technology for Android is Jetpack Compose, for iOS it is Swift UI. With this, you can create great quality app, and then you need not have to worry about Flutter, the configuration, because with Flutter you'll get all third-party support. With native, you get direct support. So that's the basic difference between both of them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do anyone have any other question?
Hello sir, my name is Alok Roy. So I want to ask you about how do we connect with the database. Actually first we have to connect with JSON files and all in HTML, JavaScript. So how do we connect in this Jetpack?
How do you connect the database? Database in a sense like the server database
Yes.
or the local server, something
Yeah.
from server.
Yeah.
Well, Jetpack Compose is just a UI framework. All your logic, the way you fetch the content will remain same. That's not going to change. For example, if you're not using Firebase, you're using something else, through the API based approach, you might be using retrofit. And the way you fetch through the retrofit today, same will continue. What will change is how do you show it to the UI. So from view model, rather than setting it to some text or recycler view, you can directly use it and call as collect lifecycle as state.
Okay.
So you will expose the state object from the view model, and inside this composable you can say like collect lifecycle as state. So whenever data of that state changes, composable will recompose itself and redraw its content. When it will redraw, it will automatically fetch the latest content and that will display on the UI.
So in UI, if we are fetching any details, so it will be means updating in the background also, means in backend also, in servers.
Yeah, so if it is a real-time server, like a real-time database, where the moment you write something in the backend on your server and it push to all the connected device, then also the fundamental object is whatever you are using the existing framework, whether it is Firebase, retrofit altogether doesn't support this, but Firebase does support. So Firebase database is like, say I have a platform for Android and iOS, someone from iOS did the change, pushed something, I'm on Android, without doing anything, I can see the changes on my device.
Okay.
That's something which you call as real-time database.
Okay, okay.
So if we want to display that kind of UI with Jetpack Compose, again, if you see the fundamental idea here is observable concept. It is observing for the change, and once it finds that there is some change, it updates its content. So whenever Firebase is going to give the updated value, again you pass it back to the view model, state object will change, as state object will change because you have called collect as lifecycle state inside your composable, it will automatically recompose itself. and it will redraw its content. The moment it redraw its content, whatever content is pushed from server, you will see it on the screen.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, this.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Anjali Ranglani from JIT College. So my question is, which API level is used in Jetpack Compose?
Which API? means-
Level, like there are levels of API, right? Maybe 21 or higher than that, something.
Okay, so that is from API level 19, I believe.
19. Okay.
Yes. So majority of the support that we give nowadays is from API level 23. 21 we used to give, but if you see the comparison between API level 23 and 21, it's almost same. 21 is about 99.8% somewhere, and 23 is about 97%. 97 is still so huge. So that problem you will not face with Jetpack Compose.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So are we good with this? Okay, one more.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
This is Omkar Joshi from first year YCCE.
Hi.
Sir, I want to ask that by any chance I can integrate Arduino with Android app, because I have developed a complete automated home system using Arduino and Python. So by any chance I can integrate with a UI?
It's very tricky to do that with direct Android app. You will need some server in between, so that you can send your content to some server and let your app
Yes,
be
yes.
connected to it. But direct support is very tricky because of Python.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So I think we are all good. Okay, one more question. Yes, so Jetpack Compose is built with Kotlin and it is for Kotlin. No more Java support.
Based on what you just showed, I concluded that the Jetpack Compose syntax is similar to Streamlit, which is it is easy to use. So why should I transition from Streamlit framework to Jetpack Compose? What more does it offer?
So if you stay with the existing UI toolkit that we have, then the problem that comes up with existing UI toolkit is if you want to create a complex UI, everything you have to create is custom based UI, and that requires more time. But when it comes to Jetpack, is taken care by the framework, and you write very less to achieve more. The another advantage that comes up with this is it is completely written from ground up, so it's using Kotlin. So it uses the Kotlin intuitive API's coroutine under the hood so as to improve the performance. That performance change you will not see with the existing UI toolkit. And it is very hard even to give that support because of the XML language.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello sir, myself Mritnyer Singh from Priyadarshini JL College. My question is, as you said that Flutter we use for cross-platform, but I have seen in many NMCs that they use native for Android and native for iOS both. That's for what? If Flutter is that much good, then why they use native for both?
Well, the thing here is that if you are running a company, and just think about this, that if you have started this about 3 years back, and Flutter was like very new 3 years back, it was probably in the beta or RC version, and you would have already got started with native approach or React JS, React Native. Now at this stage, after say 2-3 years, will it be practical for you to change your entire code base to something new which is there in the market? Well, that is practical, but think about the cost that it will incur. So rather than doing this approach, what they prefer is that whatever they are having, they continue with the same stuff, and if there is some drawback with the existing framework which another framework is fulfilling, then they think about switching to that framework. If you see about the native Android or iOS, you will not see any difference that native is not that much performant where Flutter is performant in this particular aspect. So when native is performant, Flutter is also performant, and the code base is already written in native, then why should a company invest once again to rewrite their code base and reinvest their time and effort for something which is new in the industry? So that's the sentiment that goes on. Whatever is there is with the code base, just get along with it. Google announced Kotlin as a first-class programming language for Android in 2017, if I remember correctly. Still, you will find so many companies who will have Java code base. And the prime reason is this itself. Why should they spend this much time to rewrite their code base? So the approach which they have adopted is that let's not touch the existing code base, but whatever new that we are implementing, let's start with Kotlin. So in a similar way, when there is something with React Native, JS, native Android, iOS, and there is a team who is working on that, then why to switch to some other platform or some other framework when they are not facing any issues or problem with the existing framework itself? So it's all depends on the business cases, business requirement, and until and unless there is issue with the existing one, business will hardly touch the existing code base to move to something new.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, thank you then.
Thank you so much, everyone. If anybody has any other questions, that can be answered during lunchtime, okay? We'll carry forward then.
So, as we embark on this intellectual voyage today, let us be prepared to have our minds expanded, our horizons broadened, and our perspective shifted. Let us open our ears to the symphony of insights orchestrated by an architect at Navocat and ex-Googler. Put your hands together for Mr. Joinal Ahmed. Come on, guys.
इधर 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 यहाँ पे हाँ हेलो okay okay sound hi everyone, good afternoon. Great. I think some would be confused, right? It's Android Campus Fest. I'm talking about AI, machine learning. Any confusion? You can. Okay. How many of you used platforms like Bard, ChatGPT, Claude? Okay. Have you ever had this question? Where is this AI ML, that model is deployed? How you are getting that answer? Any doubts you had, how it is running? Yes, no? Okay. Anyone like to add, what do you think, where it is running? Any answers? Where do you think? On your phone? Everywhere? Okay. Kind of, yes. I think cloud is everywhere. It's not the real cloud that is up there, but yeah. So what we're talking about is on-device machine learning, which means the same models that we build. It can be LLMs or it can be any other models, right? How do you take those models, build on or deploy them on your phones, right? You might have use cases where you need to run that model on your phone. Maybe your user is very remote, they doesn't have internet. Then how that user can use a tool like ChatGPT or Bard on their phone, right? So which is what we're going to talk today, and which is where it's a marriage between machine learning and apps, right? Yeah, hi everyone, I'll just introduce myself again. Thanks for that wonderful introduction. I'm Joinal Ahmed. I lead engineering at Navocat. I am an ex-Googler, also had worked on AWS, so that's about me. What we'll be talking about on today is on-device machine learning with Keras. Anyone have used Keras, TensorFlow Lite? Great. So we'll be seeing how you can use these two tools, make those models runnable on your Android devices, and I might also have a demo. If we have time, I can also show you a demo where a LLM model is running on your phone, right? Any Android developers here? Show of hands, please. Android developers? Only one? Okay, then that part is only for you. Others don't listen. Yeah. So let's start. You know, we are at an era today, right? We are at an age today where every product that we have seen, every software that we have used, is getting some flavor of LLM, right? Like to call it as flavor of the season, or every product has the tadka, right, on top of that. But essentially, that is the power of generative AI, right? That's a part of power of LLMs that we have seen that it moves like an enabler. It gets us to 0 to 1, and then with our creativity, we can take that solution to 1 to 100, right? LLMs offers a massive, step change, right? It covers a lot of use cases around summarization, language understanding, captioning, creative thinking, and whatnot, right? But at the same time, it comes with a cost, right? Large language model, by name, it's very large. It has, billions of parameters, which means they need very high compute. For example, if you see Bard, to serve one user query, it takes around 12 seconds on a 8 Viper Lite TPU chip, which is around 0.6 cents. And a lot of these models, right, LLMs, these are just foundation models is what we say. They know something about everything, right? It's just trained on internet, which means you need to do a lot of fine tuning to suit your use case, right? Let's say you want to build a solution that answers farmers' crop-related query. A foundation ML might not be able to answer those queries, right? Because it doesn't have that knowledge. You need to fine tune it. And then last, but which is very important, privacy, right? I, as a conscious person, right, I don't use any ML model that serves or sends my data to its servers, because I don't trust those companies, what they're going with it, right? At the same time, data privacy is an issue, and a lot of new rules have come up, right? GDPR and other compliances which you need to tackle too. And then last is personalization, right? You want to make sure that the model you are building, the solution you are building, is catering to that user's needs, right? If I go to YouTube, the videos I see are catered for me, right? Versus everyone's Facebook timeline, Instagram timeline, YouTube timeline would be very different, because it knows what kind of content you want to use and then gives basis on that. Yeah, so this is a phase, when you ask a developer that I want to now deploy a Palm model or a GPT 3.5, which is around 8 GBs, if on raw storage, right, to your phone. Most of our devices even don't have that much memory, not much RAM, right? Then how do you do that? Which is where comes on-device machine learning. Anyone knows what is on-device machine learning? Show of hands, please. Yeah. Would you like to explain? Mic for him, please. Yes, please. Don't be shy. I know people don't ask questions, so I'd ask you questions. And if you don't ask me questions, then it will be my time to, yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, what is on-device machine learning?
On-device, basically the general machine learning concept is like we send the query to server where
Yes.
the host machine learning model is hosted, and then server replies it. So to reduce the latency, because due to the internet and like traffic, we deploy machine learning models on like using, I guess, TensorFlow and other develop programming languages
Yes.
to use device hardware like CPU and RAM, and it uses that like uses that hardware to solve that query.
Yes. Here devices can be anything, right? Just not your phones, but essentially it can be a Raspberry Pi, a Jetson Nano, a Intel Edge, a Coral Edge, or any device, right? Any device which is small enough and you optimize your model to run on that phone, on that device, that's on device, right? Even we can call, if you run a model on a laptop, that's on device machine learning itself, right? There are a lot of use cases that we have seen, right? Everyone uses Instagram filters, Snapchat, all of this uses on-device machine learning, right? A simple example is everyone uses Google Meets, right? You see a blur feature when you don't want to share your background. Do you think every frame is sent to Google servers to delete your background and blur it? No, right? All of these are running on your laptop, on your phones itself, which is what on-device machine learning is. So it gives you a very low latency real-time feel because you're not sending anything to the server, right? So there are no attached network calls. If you are a 4G versus 5G versus 2G, you're not seeing those delays. Second is obviously running on phones, so it will work offline. So you can cater to, I forgot the number, but you know that 8 billion devices, right? Yeah, 3 billion devices. So if those 3 billion devices are still offline, they don't have internet access, you'll still be serving your models to them. Cost efficient, obviously, because you are not incurring any cloud cost. It's oxymoron of me who have worked on AWS and Google Cloud and saying don't use cloud, but we'll have that discussion later, right? It will be cost efficient because you're running everything on the phone itself. Mobile developer friendly because you don't need to do additional work on the cloud, right? Everything can be done at one step. And yes, privacy conscious, right? Someone like me who is very privacy freak, solution that works on the phone is win-win for me. But all this comes at cost, right? There are some challenges to it. There are some issues that we need to address first before we go to talk about how we deploy these models on phone. First is limited hardware capabilities, right? All of us don't have the same phone, right? Someone might have an X23 Ultra, someone might have a mid-range, maybe Samsung or OnePlus Nord, someone might even have a lower, right? So how do you make sure that the devices, the models that you build run same across all of these devices, right? Give same experience to all of the users. There are certain things like, this model is consuming a lot of memory and compute. This will directly affect your user's battery, right? It can potentially heat up the phones. So how do you make sure that your phones your experiences across all users, you're not hampering the user's devices? So which is where you start selecting an efficient runtime, go for, instead of if there's a GPU available, you start using that and make sure that you give the same experience to all of the users. Second is model size and complexity is what we just talked about, right? If you think about a very small classifier model, right? That can run easily on the phone versus a model like LLM, which are billions of parameters. So basis on these different model capabilities, different model size, complexities arises, right? Which is where you'll do things like quantization and graph pruning and overall model optimization. Anyone knows what is optimization, model optimization, quantization? Do you want me to go through that? Okay. And then last is heterogeneity is what we talked about, right? The model should be deployable on a CPU, on a GPU, on a cloud device, on an edge device, everywhere, right? So let's say and you ideally should go for a hybrid approach, right? If your user's model phone is not good enough, you call the cloud endpoints because you don't want to deploy it on his phone and hamper his performance. But let's say if your user has a decent phone where you can run your model, why not use that? So now let's talk about the tooling aspects of the things, right? What is there for you to take a model and deploy these on phones. So start with TensorFlow Lite, which is nothing but a framework built on top of TensorFlow, which helps you to deploy these models on iOS and Android devices via other packages. It supports 1 million to 100 million parameters, but Recently, with the latest upload, it can also support up to 1 billion LLM models. Then there is TF Lite Micro, which is nothing but if you want to go anything above phone, right? Let's say, Raspberry Pi, Jetson Nano, or other FPGAs, which is why you use TF Lite, which gives you the same flexibility. Third is TensorFlow.js. If you want to build this for web, where you use TensorFlow.js. There are a lot of other toolings available from third-party vendors, right, which gives you and can extend capability of these models. And the last is common across all of this is MOT. Anyone knows what is MOT? It's TensorFlow Model Optimization Toolkit. So basically, if you want to do the model optimization that we talked about here, right, optimization, quantization, pruning, you use MOT, right? And it helps you to decrease model size, increase model performance, get those low latency predictions and whatnot. So now that we know, okay, what is on-device machine learning, what we can achieve, and what are the toolings available, right? This might be a feeling, right? We now have all of these things on our hand. Now, what it takes to take those models, deploy them on phone, right? So LLM on device, I might have rather written LLM on phones, but yeah. So I'll just introduce here to ULM. ULM, Unified Language Model, which is a predecessor to PaLM and BARD is what we use today, right? And this Excel set language understanding, language generation, and translation tasks. So whatever you see BARD is capable of, it is based on ULM. And it is highly multilingual. It has around 100 languages, and with Project Vani and other capabilities, we are extending it to around 1,000 more languages. And it will cater to a lot of these smaller, less spoken languages that we have today. And it performs very well. We have seen, it can write code, it can do sentiment analysis, it can do creative writing and whatnot. So now let's take this model and try to deploy them on phone. Same, the capabilities, the upper hand that we get are more like same, right? You unlock a wide variety of capabilities that can cater to offline users. Highly performant, a benchmark is it can generate up to 30 tokens per second on a Galaxy S23 device, right? If we same check with, I think, Pixel 6a, it gives around 23 tokens per second, which is still very good if you compare a Pixel's compute power versus a Galaxy S23 top of the line device, right? And compressed size, see if you see here, we can reduce that 4 GB model to under 1.3 GB. So that's a huge decrease of the model size, right? And now this 1.3 GB model can fit in almost every phone that we have today. And this is the overall steps, right? So you start with training your model. You decide if you want to use Keras with TensorFlow, JAX, PyTorch, and whatnot, right? So now imagine, we'll not go through this. So you took a foundational model, or you go ahead with building your own one. Let's imagine you already have a model, right? Now what we do from here. So to start with, apply model quantization or model optimization techniques. So let's look at the optimization techniques. The first is weights pruning. A simple understanding of this is, let's say, any deep learning model, right? It has 2 steps, or rather 3 steps, right? Forward pass, you do weight calculation, you do back propagation. Here with me? Yes, no? Guys, yes, no? Okay. So do you think you need back propagation when you have to predict something? No, right? You don't want the back propagation while you are on production, when you are predicting, right? So what we do is, when we want to reduce the size or push the model to production, just prune that part of the graph which does the back propagation, right? So that way you are removing unnecessary nodes, you are removing unnecessary connections, which means you are doing less compute. You are reducing model's overall size on the memory, right? Yeah, and the second is quantization. So what do you do with quantization is, let's say you train a model with FP32, FP16, right? Floating point, like floating point 32 or floating point 16 precision. But if you have to reduce this, right, what we do is simply convert that floating point to integer. So you are removing those precision values and only doing compute on, let's say, integers. That way you are doing less. So now you can, instead of a 32-bit memory space, you are reducing it down to 8, right? So you have a 4-fold reduction of that model size. You are reducing the model's overall compute. So that way you can achieve model to run faster, fit on smaller devices. But if you think here, if you remove floating point, right, you are losing precision, right? Because you are not doing those fine calculation of floating point values, which means your model's performance will decrease, right? Because you are not doing those smaller calculations. In order to take care of that, what you do is quantization aware training, QAT. What happens here is the same 3-step process: forward pass, loss calculation, reverse pass, right? So in the forward pass, you train the model with floating point 16 or 32, and you quantize the model. Basically, you convert them to int 8 and calculate the loss. Once you calculate the loss on this quantized model, you again do backpropagation on the same 32-bit model. So this way, once you iterate, the model gets immune to the quantization loss, and the final model you get is very less, the performance loss that you get is very less compared to the floating point and int models. So that's with quantization. Yeah, let's move here. So now you have a model which is quantized, which is smaller, which can run faster, which can fit in smaller memory spaces. Next, what you do is you convert the model to TF Lite or any other library that you want to run on a phone. And that's it, right? Now you have the TensorFlow Lite model. You can now deploy this on your phone with your Android app. I think everyone has used or experienced this use case, right? Gmail autocomplete feature, everyone might have used it. So this runs on the same philosophy, right? It runs on the phone using TensorFlow Lite, and then it is essentially the same ULM model, which is quantized and made available to you and offline. It gives a lot of privacy-centric features around learning on your data, because your mails might have sensitive content, right? And you don't want them to be served or processed in someone else's server and then gave. So it serves privacy-first approach, and TF Lite helps you to provide those small libraries and force or fast inference speeds. Maybe read about this use case or the case study later when you have time, but let's not dive into this in detail. There's a lot more happening, right? There's a lot of things happening, right from the packages or the tooling which is available to the quantization aware training or the whole QAT optimization and then integration with model Lite. So now let's pack everything into a suitcase or an Android app and see how that can be done. So this is the use case we are doing. We'll take a GPT-2 model. So the idea here of this demo is, I'm not going to show how you do the state-of-the-art models. That up to you to experiment and do. I'm just here showing you the capability of what you can do, and then feel free to take any existing LLM, quantize it, make it smaller, and deploy it on your phone, right? And this is the process that we are going to go through together. Before that, just a small call out to Keras NLP. So it's a branch of Keras, where they have a lot of additional capabilities on top of Keras. Things like, they have all these LLMs pre-compiled for you, quantized, made smaller, so that you can directly use them, right? So here, there are models like Albert, BERT, GPT, OPT. It has a lot of tokenizers in place. There are things like modeling layers, transformer, encoder, others. There are samplers and matrix, and all of these things are baked into one tool, so that you can directly use it without worrying about the whole writing that LLM by yourself. Let's get into building. So we start with training the model and quantization first, but before that, let me just show you this demo. So this is a skeleton Android app. I'll give you the source for you to experiment, but essentially what it's completes building, yeah, let it take time. So you do the train a language model GPT-2 using the same framework, same okay, the same Keras NLP. Once you train the model, what you do next is this process, right? In your workstation, in your machine, in your cloud ecosystem, you train the model, you do use the TF-Lite converter. What it gives you is a TF-Lite model, right? Now you use this TF-Lite model with a TF-Lite interpreter running on your phone that will help you to run this model on your device itself. This again, very simple steps to convert that model. You don't have to do much. You just load the model, say, you want to, these are the custom operations that you want to convert, and it gives you finally a quantized GPT to TF-Lite file, which you can now use on your apps. So yeah, everyone can see this. So this is a GPT-2 powered app. If I write hello world here, it says the autocomplete TF-Lite model is missing. So we'll now take that model, put into that Android piece. We'll look at the code and see how it gets integrated. So let's start from here. So what you do is first you basically define a name to that file, what the app is supposed to fetch. Once you do that, this is the main function that is loading the file, right? So you are creating a context.asset, and you are assigning it the file name. You do a file stream to read that file as a read only and declare it so that it is now in your memory. That TF-Lite, the model, is now in your memory. Once you do that, that's all right. Then what you do is, you just call this function where it takes the user input, what I have given in that box, hello world. It now runs the model with that input, gets the output buffer, which is just raw numbers, right? Because the model will only give you raw numbers. So once you get that, you convert them to words and then stream that back to the user on the screen, right? So now they can see it. If you want to follow with me, yeah, just scan this QR code. This will lead to the code, the notebook that trains the model, quantizes it, and also the Android skeleton app that will help you to run it on your. I'll just make the QR larger. Done? Okay. Yeah. So now that we have this ready, let's do one thing, right? So I'll just putting this in place. What you have to do is in your source, you will see SRC assets. In the assets, you just dump this autocomplete TF-Lite file which you just converted, and the app should run automatically, right? So now when I build it again with the file in place, if you see here, now we are using the GPT-2 model. Obviously, it's a very small model, so we're not looking at the quality of the generation yet. It's just that you can see how fast the generation is, right? It's more than 60 token per second on a device, right? With this capability in your hand, now you can open a lot of use cases, right? Right from, you know, a tutor companion app for you, right? Which goes through your course material and just gives you recommendations, gives you answers, right? And this all can run offline. You can create apps like which gives real-time answers to farmers on their crop health, what should they do, and a lot more, right? So on-device LLM, I think is the future where you can use the power of this generative AI and make them run offline. Yeah, that's all. So just to summarize, you have an LLM, you now have an app. If you combine them together, I think everyone in head, you are listening to this song, right? You have on-device machine learning at play. That's all. If you want to go through this in detail, there is a 2-hour long video that explains the entire demo. So you can go through this QR and view that offline. And done? Okay. So what the link that I shared would let you is to this code lab, right? It's a step-by-step process, so it will teach you what you have to do at each step with additional a lot of capabilities. Or you start with this Git repo where the code is, you run the starter app, and then you go to this collab notebook where you will take a model, convert them, and download them as a TF-Lite file. Once you do that, complete the Android app, and that's all, right? That's all you have to do. I think that's all I had. Thank you. Got any questions? Yes, please.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Suraj Himnani, and I am currently a basic Python developer, and I want to start my journey in machine learning. So, what would you suggest me?
Okay. I get that question a lot, and what I advise is, which year you are in right now?
Currently in 5th semester.
Third year, yes, right? So what I advise, and this is an advice to everyone, is not choose a technology first and then dive on it. What I tell you is, more like a T model. So explore everything first, right? Do some work on, like you said, you started with Python, maybe explore machine learning. In machine learning also, there are a lot of subdomains, right? Computer vision, NLP, classical machine learning, these days Gen AI, ML ops and whatnot, right? Even if you come out of ML, then there is web backend app and a lot more use cases, or a lot more domains, right? Try exploring everything first. Give some time to everything so that you understand what it takes at every domain, right? What it takes to work at every place. And then from there you will find a calling and then go deep, right? It's more like, if I have to put it on a analogy, right? You date all of these technologies or framework first before you decide whom you want to marry, right? You don't go for an arranged marriage. Explore everything first and then figure out what you want to do.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yep. At the back.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Shreyanandanwar. I want to ask, is PyTorch better or TensorFlow?
I think that's a debate going on, but if I have to answer, PyTorch is more accepted by the academia, which is where you see a lot of SOTA research happening on. But again, at the same time, a lot of industry are using TensorFlow because of this associated toolings, right? You can, once you have that model, you are free to do anything with it. Deploy it on edge, deploy it on phone, deploy it on web, deploy it on cloud, right? So it's more like a choice or a personal choice that you do, both are like apples to apples, both can do more or less the same things.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? No? Okay. Thank you for having me here. My coordinates, if you are shy of asking here, there's one question there. Yeah. Even before he gets it, if you are shy of asking any questions now, you can connect me on LinkedIn or Twitter. I'll be happy to ask you. I'm just sorry I cannot be here till the evening today. I'll have to rush to airport. But yes.
Hello.
Hi.
So basically what I want to ask is, while building ML models or DL models, sometimes errors are very difficult to resolve. So how do you deal with sometimes difficult errors?
Can you repeat?
So when I train ML models or DL models, sometimes while training a long error pops up. What platforms or what resources do you use to tackle those errors? Because sometimes those are very tough to deal with.
Okay. So this is not relevant to you, but yes. So what you do is, those errors, right? It's everything is in that error description, right? Which is where I think a lot of us make mistake is go directly to using the APIs and not actually understand what is happening at the behind, right? So it advises you to go through the source code, give some time to it, understand what kind of the parameters it takes, what algorithm, essentially if you not understand the mathematics behind it, but at least at top level how it works, right? So that you know what is the right parameter that should go in, what is the right answer that, input that should go in, and what kind of output you should expect. So that way it will be easier for you to debug versus if you don't understand the framework or the library you are using first, then you will be very alien to the error message, right? But if you understand that, then you can clearly pinpoint what is happening. And I think a lot of this also comes with experience. So more you break things, the more you try out things, the better you will get at that, right? There's no one fine answer that I can give you for that. If not there are any other questions, thank you for, yeah. LLMs are deep learning. So essentially, LLMs, what you're doing is how we are at this college, right? Teachers give all this material to the students, go read it, and then during exam you are asking questions, right? So the same way, you are giving all these materials, the whole internet as an input, and there is a, and this has some task, right? So you are training it for summarization or others. And LLM at core are prediction models, right? These are just predicting what is the next word. So that way, language model, XGBoost model, if you know, is also an LLM, right? If you blew it that scale, but then LLMs at core are just predicting what is the next word, and that is deep learning at essence. Okay, sure. Thank you. You can find me here if you want to ask anything. Thank you for having me here again. I love to come to Nagpur, and this is the 4th time I'm coming. So thank you. Thank you.
Take back all that I said. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's not like me to.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joinal. Your speech was very inspiring for all of us, I hope. तुम लोग के चेहरे देख के लग तो नहीं रहा कि तुमको मजा आया? आया? Tired? Abhi se, you still have 2 talks pending, and also we have fun activities planned for you. अगर तुम लोगों का ऐसे enthusiasm रहेगा तो क्या फायदा activities करके, right? बताओ कराना है एक्टिविटीज की नहीं? यस? सुनाई नहीं आया मुझे, जोर से बोलो. कूल. अच्छे से पार्टिसिपेट करोगे? पार्टिसिपेट एंथुसियास्टिकली करोगे तो कराते हैं, वरना रहने देते हैं. What say? एक बार अच्छे से. Will you be participating nicely? और थोड़ा जोर से, और थोड़ी एनर्जी, please. Will you be participating? Nice. Girls are more enthusiastic than the boys. Chalo, फिर let's start the activity, okay? So I'll call Manasvi and Radhika on the stage. They'll be hosting you.
Hello everyone. Are you excited to be here? I can't hear you. Are you excited to be here? Louder. Everyone in the back, please. Alright guys, before we begin our descent into the world where the virtual and tangible collide, let's get to know each other. I'm Radhika Kimmatkar.
And I am Manasvi Dangore.
And we will be your hosts for this fun-filled extravaganza.
That's right, Radhika. We've got a fantastic quiz lined up for you all, packed with challenging questions and exciting swags, of course.
Of course, guys. So, to begin the quiz, we'll display a QR code on the screen behind us, and you'll need to sign in. Guys, can we have the QR code on the screen? Please scan the QR code and enter a valid username. Guys, please enter your full name as your username.
Make sure to pick a good username because it will be displayed on the leaderboard as we go on with the quiz.
I hope everyone is able to log in to the QR code.
Are you ready, guys?
So, there will be 10 questions and each question has a stipulated duration of 20 seconds.
There are no negative points for wrong answers. And remember, once you select an option, you cannot go back and change it.
So let's kick off the quiz without any further ado.
Okay, we'll wait. Sure. Done, guys? Okay, so we'll start with the quiz.
Spin TV. Kundan is on the top, guys.
quiz, guys. It's time to kick into high gear. There's still a chance you can win. Three questions remaining, guys. Keep an eye on the leaderboard. There's only 3 questions remaining. The last question, guys. This is your last chance to earn a spot on the leaderboard. There's 20 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining, guys. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, stop.
And that concludes our quiz. Give yourselves a huge round of applause, everyone.
It's been a thrilling quiz, and we want to thank our enthusiastic audience for their participation.
The winners will be awarded their prizes towards the end of the event. That means you have to stay here for every single moment of this soulful sojourn.
Okay, so are you excited for lunch now? Okay, so I request right side to please leave out of the auditorium for lunch, and you have to wait for time. Volunteers will help you.
Lunch will be served at DMMC canteen, and our volunteers will guide you all the way through. I request everyone on the right side of the auditorium to please stand up from their seats. Only folks from the right side of the auditorium will stand up and proceed for lunch. Guys, please move forward in an orderly fashion. We have volunteers and coordinators stationed all the way through up to the end, up to DMMC canteen, and that's where lunch will be served.
ओके सो टिल देन दीज पीपल, आप लोग तो बोर हो जाओगे, आप लोग के लिए कुछ और एक्टिविटी कराएं? इंटरेस्टेड हो या फिर भूख लगी है, नींद आ रही है? बताओ बताओ एक्टिविटीज किसी की आवाज आई मुझे वहां से? Who all want the activity to be conducted for you guys? Yeah, ये सामने वाले हमेशा enthusiastic होते हैं. I'm the backbenchers. करानी एक्टिविटी? चलो कूल कराते हैं. Something जब तक वो लोग लंच करके आते हैं till the time you have the turn to go for the lunch, we'll handle some activity for you. Okay? Let's go then. क्या एक्टिविटी है guys? बताओ. We're excited to know. हमको भी नहीं पता है.
Let's play Damshrats. Alright, I need one volunteer from the crowd to please stand up.
Goodies मिलेगी guides, जल्दी.
चलो उठो. कोई भी. सामने वाले. अच्छा फिर रैंडमली हम पिक करेंगे. चलेगा आप लोगों को?
Is there anyone जिसका birthday आता हो on the 2nd of any month? आ जाओ जल्दी.
Come.
आ जाओ आ जाओ.
आ जाओ कोई प्रॉब्लम.
अरे पापा will be giving you goodies. Come on. Guys please उसको जगह दो आने के लिए. और कोई? Anyone whose birthday falls in September? September. आ जाओ. अरे come on पापा, be active in participating. आ जाओ. Come on. Anyone जिसको randomly आना हो वो भी आ सकते हैं. तुम लोग को goodies नहीं चाहिए क्या?
Guys,